Good afternoon now, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Rev Up Your Listings in Reverse. Today's class is going to be all about how a real estate agent can help older homeowners list, rebuy, and get more business using the reverse mortgage and the reverse mortgage for purchase. So just want to go over a few housekeeping items just before we begin. This is a webinar format, so your camera and your audio is turned off, and this is view only. But if you have a question, the way we'll be taking it is through Q&A. So Q&A is a button you can find at the bottom of your screen. When you click it, it will prompt you to just put in any question you have. And please feel free to put any questions that you have throughout the presentation. We're going to be answering all the questions in the middle of the class at 12:30, and then at the very end of the class at 1 o'clock. So that's how we'll be handling questions. Second thing is this webinar recorded. Please contact Orange County Realtors to find out how to get the recording of the webinar. But if you can't stay the whole time, we really recommend, if you can, of course, to stay till the very end, because we're going to be talking about how you can take advantage of complimentary course refreshers to follow up on the material, as well as other complimentary marketing materials and softwares that you will be able to access at the very end of class. So we're going to talk about that. And then last but not least, some of you may have received a copy of this PowerPoint in your email, but if you would like a copy of this presentation that you see here, please go ahead and email me at my email. I'm going to put it in the chat. And then also when you email me, letting me know you like a copy of the PowerPoint, what I'll also do is we're going to put you in a giveaway at the very end of class. We're going to draw for a $20 Amazon gift card. So again, if you want to sign up for the $20 Amazon gift card giveaway, or you just want a copy of the PowerPoint, go ahead and just email me on my work email. I'm going to put it in the chat here in just a moment, and we'll do that at the end of the class at 1 o'clock. All right, enough talking on my end. Ryan, go ahead and take the floor.
So if you've been to our class before, this is the abbreviated version, and we have some changes that we've made. So hopefully they'll be updated and different for you. And thanks for being here today. It's a beautiful day outside. Maybe you should rethink sitting here for an hour. No, I'm joking. Thanks for joining us. So here's what we have today. What we've based our presentation on here is really, we're going to learn, yes, of course, we're going to talk about reverse mortgages, but I want to focus really on how over the last 11 years, we've really seen realtors take advantage of the reverse mortgage to help business and help your pipeline. And so 3 ways, these are the 3 top ways that we've really seen the reverse mortgage play a role in a realtor getting business. And then we'll dive into each one of these 3 over the next 35, 40 minutes, and then we'll talk about some marketing. So I think the first thing I really want everyone to understand is that reverse mortgage, right? When a client asks for a reverse mortgage, they're really not necessarily wanting a reverse mortgage. I'm okay with that. They're really saying, look, I have a house, I have some equity, and either I'm trying to lower my monthly expenses, or I want to get some cash out of the house. Maybe I had a hard time getting a loan. I need something, and I'm a homeowner, right? That's what it means when somebody tells you what's a reverse mortgage. And so one thing I want you to really know is that most of the time when a client asks or inquires about a reverse mortgage, a lot of times they don't end up getting one, right? And so when a client does not get a reverse mortgage, which is sometimes it's even more than 50% of the time when they inquire that they actually don't get one, what they really still have is a situation where they're saying, I'm in a house, there is equity, and I need to do something. So more than any other loan out there, when a client asks you about a reverse, I want you to know that many times it comes back to the realtor as a listing. And so this isn't something that you just pass off. Like if someone says, I can get a good 30-year fixed loan, that client's not selling. They're going to get a 30-year fixed loan and be on their way. When somebody says, do you know what a reverse mortgage is? What they're saying is, I have an issue, I need help. And many times a reverse mortgage refinance, right? What clients use to refinance a home isn't going to help. And you need to be there to help them after that question. Okay, so question number 1, what's a reverse mortgage? That's business for realtors and for loan officers. Now, there's a lot of clients out there, older clients, that do need to sell their home. As a matter of fact, National Association of Realtors did a study, right, in 2019. And you know that more than half the people selling their homes are 55 and older? Yeah, our older homeowners are selling and moving more than younger homeowners, right? So there's opportunity there. And if all the homeowners that actually wanted to list with you could, there would be a lot more older homeowners listing their homes, but they run into a problem. And that problem is I'm retired. I'm not really qualifying for any type of good mortgage. And so why would I sell my house if I can't really get a loan and try to buy something with just the cash I'm going to get when I sell? I'm kind of stuck in this home. Even though I may want to move, even though I need to move, I think I'm stuck here. Well, the reverse purchase loan allows a homeowner who might not get any other financing to qualify for a purchase loan. So we're going to get into that soon. So this is bullet number 2. We want to help you identify who might need or who might want to sell their home, but they just need to know about financing and how they could do it. Now, there's a lot of reverse mortgages out there already, and there's many more coming on, right? And you know, a lot of homeowners and their heirs, even though they might have known at one point in time, or maybe they never knew, they don't really comprehend how the house goes from them to their heirs when they pass away. Some people still think that the house doesn't go to the heirs on a reverse mortgage. Most of the time, when the homeowners pass away, the heirs can get the home, and then they do what? We see them sell it more than keep it. So here's what we're saying to you. Since the heirs and the homeowners really don't have a good idea on how that process happens, this is your opportunity to insert yourself for future listings. Whenever you hear or you talk to somebody and they have a reverse, you gotta let them know that number one, you know how to help heirs get control of a house with the reverse mortgage when the homeowners pass away. You're the resource to help them get that home and have them sell it or keep it, which most of the time they sell it. So I don't want you ever to miss an opportunity from a listing when you hear somebody has a reverse mortgage. Now, of course, that's not business today, but how often are we marketing for the future, right? A lot. This is just something that will help you have listings in the future by planting the seeds now and then letting those seeds take care of you in the future. So we'll talk about how you do that as well, how you become the specialist that will help their heirs get the house when the borrowers have passed away. Nobody ever hears about that, right? And you will be telling the clients that. Okay, so let's really start off with a review of the reverse, right? What's the reverse mortgage? It's really just a loan with optional mortgage payments. I mean, you're not giving your house to anybody, you're just borrowing money, just like a regular loan, right? Like a traditional loan, like a 30-year fixed Fannie Mae loan. What, you borrow money to buy a house? Or you refinance and you pull cash out, right? And then you have a lien on your house. That's it. That's a regular loan. Reverse, you're borrowing money to buy a house, you're refinancing, you have a lien on your house. The major difference is when the statement shows up on a reverse mortgage, you have an option of saying, I'm not going to pay this month. Literally, that's the biggest difference between a conventional and a reverse. When the statement comes, you could say, you know, I'm just not going to make a payment this month. And so what happens is that whatever was due for the month is added to what you owe. That's it. And you have a higher balance. Next month, you can decide, am I going to make a payment this month? If $1,500 is due and I send in nothing, $1,500 is added to my balance. Well, what if I send in 1,000? You can do that. Then only 500 is added to your balance. So at the end of the day, how a reverse mortgage works is really up to the client every month. Do I not want to make a payment? Good. All I need to know is that I'll owe a little more because what was due for that month is added on. If this month I make a payment, it's not a reverse. I've literally made the payment and my mortgage balance does not go up. Nobody tells a client what to do in a reverse. Not the bank, not the government. Nobody tells them what they can do every month in regards to how the loan is running. It's up to the client. So what's a reverse? If a client asks you, you can have a very simple answer for them. Well, you know, you have a loan in your house now, and most people do. Sure. Well, just imagine you decided you didn't want to make a payment this month on your loan, and they just added whatever was due to the balance. That's it. That's really how a reverse mortgage works. That's it. Yeah. Otherwise, it's much the same as your regular loan. Oh, okay. If you can keep it in that context, then hopefully it'll help you to have a quicker response when people ask. Now, of course, the client always says, well, Ryan, what if I say every time that statement shows up, I'm never going to send a payment in? Well, of course, the loan is ultimately designed for that. And if you don't make a payment and you live for 25 years and the housing market crashes and you owe more money and all these things are going on, you have a reverse. And it's designed to help you stay in a home. It's designed to help the client be able to stay in the home no matter what's happening in that outside world, right? Now, you can get foreclosed on with the reverse mortgage. We're going to come to that slide in a little bit. But just for not making payments, for getting your statement and not sending anything in, you can stay there the rest of your life. You don't ever have to send in that monthly mortgage payment. Okay. And that's the protection in the reverse. So 10 years ago, right? A little more than 10 years ago, 2009. Before then, I was only refinancing people with reverses. So if somebody wanted a reverse, I didn't say you could buy a home using reverse. I said, oh, you can refinance. So you can imagine at that point in time for a realtor, there was never much in it for a realtor because a client couldn't use it to buy a house, right? They could only refinance. Well, then we had the purchase loan come around in about 2009. And now a client could buy a home and have optional monthly mortgage payments, right? That sounds like a good way to manage your cash flow in retirement. Sell your home, buy something downsized maybe, put some money in the bank, and then what money you do have, every month you decide, do I want to send a payment in? If not, don't worry about it. Nobody cares. If you do, that just means you're keeping more equity in your property and less cash in your bank. So it's just a trade-off, just a cash flow thing. So that can be helpful for a lot of people to be able to buy a home and then not be burdened with needing and being forced to make a payment. You decide when. Now, this is really one of the big kickers. At least I've learned in my career of doing reverse mortgage over the last 15 years. Many people get reverses, not because they ever wanted to, because it's a loan you can actually get many times. So we qualify much different than regular loans. And many people call us and say, I want a reverse mortgage. And I'm like, oh, great. You do? Why do you want one? Well, because I can't qualify for anything else. Oh, okay. Well, at least it works for that. But then I tell them, if you're afraid of getting a reverse mortgage and this is the only loan you qualify for, well, then just get this loan and make payments. You can amortize it like a regular loan. So now you qualify for a loan and you can just make a payment on it. And you have a great insurance policy in that if one day you get sick 10 years in the future, stop making payments. No one will care. So this is a tool. As long as you know how to use the tool, you use it, it'll work. If you get a hammer and you try to hammer a nail down, you hit your finger, what a terrible tool. You hit that nail on the head and drive the nail in, what a great tool. It's all about understanding how to use this product to get the best result for you. So again, on a purchase loan, right? This is going back to my bullet point number 2, which is how does a reverse help a realtor? There's a lot of clients out there that do need to move. They can't keep their house up anymore, or the mortgage is high and they're barely making it by, or they want to move to a different area. But they've been stymied because then they go out to look for financing. They realize, geez, I'm going to have almost as big a mortgage payment as I have now, or I'm not qualifying for a loan. I need something better than what's out there. So the reverse can bridge that gap and help them realize, hey, I can list this home and go buy another home, and I'll only make half a payment on that new mortgage and nothing will ever happen to me. Or I can buy that other house, and if one day I can't afford it anymore, I can just stop making payments. So the tool here, not only can you get it when maybe you can't get any other financing, but then it's totally at your discretion on how you use it. So that's important. And this really helps get people over the hump. As a matter of fact, I've sat down with a lot of a lot of realtors and clients over the last 10, 11 years on reverse purchase loans. And, when I sit down at the table, many times the client's really not sold on doing anything. They say, I really want to stay in this house. And after we run through what a reverse would look like if they stayed, if they did qualify, versus what they could do on purchasing another home, they start to realize that maybe even if I could stay in my home, I'm better off getting a different house, downsizing, getting more cash off the table and buying a less expensive home. So we see the tables turn quite a bit just after helping people understand what their options are. And you know what? We've moved a lot of people with a lot of agents from houses, Laguna Beach, LA, Sherman Oaks, $1 million properties, $2 million properties, to houses $600,000 in the desert or Temecula, places they said, I never want to do this. And you know what? We can call them right now and they'll be like, I didn't realize that I'm much happier not having any financial problems living someplace I didn't think I wanted to live compared to being where I wanted to live and having my back against the wall. Heard the story many times. So the idea here is that we just need to help people understand there's tools available. We need to have a little perception shift. Some of them end up not having a choice. And that's, of course, where it's important for you all and for us to be good at what we're doing. Because for those that are like, they have to move and they have to downsize, we can at least get them through the process smoother and get them to the finish line quicker. And so, yeah, this is what it's all about, right? Is getting to people and helping them understand there's lots of options for you. All right. Clients can get cash out on a reverse, right? On a refinance. So even though a lot of clients end up selling a home and using the reverse purchase loan we're talking about, sometimes they just want to know how a reverse works. And you say to them, well, you know, a reverse is like what? Like a regular loan, except you have optional mortgage payments. Oh, so I could refinance the reverse and get an optional mortgage payment? Sure. Can I get cash out? Well, sure. Just like a regular loan, you can get cash out. The reverse has a couple more features, though, on a cash out refinance. You don't have to take all your money at once. You can leave it behind and get it when you need it. So a lot of people think, or they've heard, well, the bank has my house, it's a reverse, and they're paying me for it. No, that's not the way it works. What happened is you did a reverse mortgage, you refinanced, and now you're just taking that cash out as payments. The bank doesn't own the home. You've just said that cash out refinance, give me my money over a certain number of months. So a lot of people get confused and think that means the bank is paying you for your house. They're not. They're just taking the cash out you're approved for and giving it to you over a long term, over months, over your lifetime. And that's how the cash out works for refinance. So you can buy a single family with the reverse. You can refinance the single family. You could buy a condo with the reverse. You can refinance. You can do all these things. You got to live there though, right? So this is not a loan where you're going to make an investment property out of it. There's no reverse mortgage loan, so you can have an Airbnb, making money on the Airbnb and not making a mortgage payment. Don't want that. We need owner occupied. That doesn't mean you can't leave for 6 months and go on vacation. Doesn't mean you can't rent out a couple rooms in the house to friends or family or whoever you want, a renter. It just means that we want to make sure you are going back in and checking on that house as a primary residence. Okay, let's go through an example. So we see transactions like this all the time. So let's say you have a client, they have a house worth $850, right? $850 house in Orange County. Hey, that's everywhere now, right? Well, if a client has a mortgage on an $850 house and they've had it for a long time, and they're saying, geez, mortgage payment's getting a little tough. Maybe the house is needing repair and I can't afford it. All these things, right? Average Social Security check is not much. And that's what many Americans live off of. So the client says, I need to sell. And you sell their house for them. And when you sell their house, they net $400,000 cash. So now this is the only money they have is $400,000. And they're telling you, look, now I got to find a house that I like. This is going to be the last house I'm going to live in. I need to make sure I can afford it so I never have to worry about leaving or having problems. And I need some cash in the bank. Well, that's a tall order for $400,000, isn't it? Even in Temecula or Marietta or the desert. Hey, houses out there, they're expensive too. So it's a tall order to make $400,000 stretch for cash in the bank and a house for the rest of their lives, right? Well, this is where a reverse can help bridge the gap. Let's say that you find the client a house for $600,000. That's acceptable for them. They can find that. And based on their age of 73, you see how I put 73 at the top of the slide? The reason I do that is we give out loans based on age. That's how we determine how much to lend somebody. So in this case, if they're buying a $600,000 home and they're 73 years old, I will say you need to put down 259 and I will give you a loan for 341. So what's the first thing we've done? We've gotten them a house. They haven't used all 400,000 of the cash they had, right, from the sale of their other house. They've used 259 of it. So they've been able to keep 141,000 in the bank. That's good. In the bank, they had really no money before. Now they got 141 and they're a homeowner, right? Well, what's the other thing we've done? We've said, look, on this new home that you bought, if you determine you can't make mortgage payments or you want to take 6 months off every year, no one's going to say anything. You can control the cash flow now. So now you never have to worry about what? Being foreclosed on if you can't make a payment for a few months. Never have to worry about relocating. We've helped them secure a house for the rest of their lives. We've put money in the bank and we've done it in a way where they didn't feel like they were backing themselves into a corner. So this is how the reverse purchase is working for so many clients that we're helping and the realtors that are selling and helping them rebuy. We're going to show you how to find some of these people because they're out there. They're all over the place. By the way, remember I said we can get this loan for people and we can't get anybody else? They can't get any other loan. Well, guess what? We don't care about FICO scores. We need very little income, right? This loan here, these clients could have had maybe $1,800 of Social Security income. And guess what? They got a $341,000 loan. That's pretty good. That's tough to do on any other type of financing. And on top of that, what? We made their mortgage payment optional. So you got an optional mortgage payment loan with a little bit of income, and you could treat it like a regular loan or keep the money in your pocket. It's up to you. Now, I keep saying we can get loans for any people and they can't get any other financing. Well, that doesn't mean it's easy, right? Our loans are pretty tedious. So first of all, we don't have automated underwriting engines. Like traditional loans have DU, desktop underwriter, those things, electronic underwriting systems to help people get approved. We have to manually underwrite every loan. So it takes us a little while to get approvals. And we got to request histories like on their old house, their homeowners insurance history. They have late pays on their credit, even though we don't care about FICO scores, we still got to address more, lates and stuff like that. So it takes us a while to do a really good approval on somebody. It doesn't just take one day. Sometimes it could take a week or 2 weeks, but we certainly want to make sure somebody can get a loan before they sell their house, right? So getting a pre-approval is an absolute necessity in terms of what we feel should happen before the client accepts an offer on their house to go purchase another home. While they're getting their pre-approval done, we also send them to counseling. So they have to talk to an independent counselor that the government has approved so then they understand how the reverse works. Because hopefully we've done a good job explaining it, but now you have a nonprofit company backing us up to make sure a client understands how the loan works. And they have to get the counseling done. It's done over the phone. It takes about 40 minutes before we can get an appraisal done on the house they're going to buy. So this needs to be done well ahead of time. So while we're pre-underwriting a file, the client should go through counseling, and then you have a client that's good to buy their next home. Then you can list, and then you can close on their next home in 30 days or 35 days because we've done all the hard work up front. A couple things. You can't give credits to cover closing costs on reverse mortgages. You can't say, oh, I'll cover your closing costs. Here's $2,000 of my commission. The seller can't say, oh, the termite report had some things. Here's just $2,000 instead of fixing the termite stuff. This is an FHA loan, and you just can't. The termite report has to be cleared. The seller has to pay for that, especially in a reverse mortgage, a government-insured reverse mortgage. You just can't cover closing costs. They want the buyer, your client, to pay for their half of title, escrow, et cetera. They just want to make sure that they can afford to pay those closing costs to buy a home. Okay, basically, since these loans are a little different than regular loans that get done, and they can be a little tedious. That's why we have our number just for realtors only, right? What we're just basically saying is, anytime you're coming across somebody and you think you might have a conversation about loans for the older homeowner, reverse mortgage purchase or anything like that, or you have a qualifying question, this number is staffed. We try to keep it staffed 7 days a week with somebody who knows how the reverses work. So that way you got a resource. We don't want you to try to memorize anything in particular, like guidelines or any of that stuff, because that changes, right? We want you to have updated information. So if you're going to sit down with somebody or you are with somebody and they ask you a question, go, hold on a second. Let me see if I can hold the hotline if anybody's there to answer our question. And there you go. Give it a ring. All right. Oh, let's see. Do we have any questions here? Crystal.
So we don't have any questions right now. I think one of our attendees said that if you can ask your question live, so we are a little bit short on time. So if it is possible, if you can put your question here in the Q&A, or you can put it in the chat and we'll get to it at the end of the presentation. Same thing for everyone else. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or in Q&A, and we'll get them to at the end of the presentation. Also, don't forget, we do have a giveaway for the $20 Amazon gift card. So if you'd like to enter it, please feel free to, you can put actually your email address in the chat, or you can email me directly in my work email, which is in the chat as well. So let's go ahead and move on so we can have a few minutes left, because we do need to finish at 1, Ryan.
Okay, all right, yeah, we can do live questions to try to get them at the end. So getting back to my point of who gets reverse mortgages, right? Because I'm going to say, when people buy their homes in their 30s or 40s, this isn't like one of the things I've always wanted to do, get a reverse mortgage, but people get them and people use them to buy homes. And why is that? Well, we are a bit underfunded in retirement. Boomers, even Gen X, heck, I think almost every generation technically is underfunded in what we need to save for retirement. And so when you retire and you're short on that income, the equity in their home becomes well, you almost need to use some of that to supplement retirement. So the idea is to still be able to own a home, but not have what you need to supplement retirement tied up in equity. So that's why the reverse offers a way to still own a home. You know, you get to stay there and then use some of that equity to supplement your retirement income. So that's why the reverse exists. And unfortunately, we just haven't saved enough. So, only about 55% of our boomers that have retirement savings, if they do, it's less than 100,000, and that's just not going to cut it. So the equity in home, especially in Southern California, right? Because if we're living in Southern California, we own homes in Southern California. Hey, that's fabulous. That is a key right there, right? Because there's so much equity, and we're going to use a little bit of that. So reverse mortgages have been around, and specifically to help fund underfunded retirements. How much equity do we have in homes of our retirees and our 65 and older population? It's getting close to 8 trillion, especially with the way property value has been going up. I'll bet you we're over 8 trillion. So we have a lot of money in equity. They say house rich, cash poor. Whatever you want to say, I think if you want to understand why more than half the homes being sold are by our 55 and older population, even though if you ask everybody, they want to stay where they're at, is because we really need access to that equity to help supplement retirement. So we're downsizing, we're moving, we're doing something, we're doing reverse mortgages, we're doing reverse purchase loans. We're doing everything that's on the table to help get some of that 8 trillion into a cash flow situation. And that's what we're seeing indeed a lot of happening at this point in time. So that bullet point number 3, right? Inserting yourself, helping a client understand, how do my heirs going to get control of this house when I pass away? A lot of heirs don't even know that happens. A lot of the clients don't remember how that happens. This is your opportunity to be the specialist, stay in contact with them so that they contact you when the time is there. What happens with a reverse mortgaged house in the future? Well, many of the homes nowadays are going to have equity. We did reduce loan amounts. So while there's been quite a few homes that were upside down after having reverses, we used to give out more or a higher percentage of the value. We've gotten much more conservative these days in that we don't lend near as much on the value of the home, which should result in more equity in homes as these newer loans are aging. I mean, with price appreciation, geez, it's almost hard not to, because we just had such a great market and shortage of homes. In this case, client passes away. The house is worth 600. They owe 400,000 on the reverse mortgage. Well, since the reverse mortgage is much like a regular loan, it's just a lien, the heirs can say, hey, I want to keep this house. The bank is owed 400. I will refinance it or get the cash and I'll give the bank their money. and then I have the house with a new loan on it or whatever. All I've done is just paid off the reverse mortgage company, and that's all they cared about. They didn't care about how much the house is. They didn't care about anything. They just want to get their money back, right? Or what we see more times than not is the heirs selling the property. And I think once we see, Proposition 19 really start to take hold, where those second homes or the investment properties heirs might receive, they're not going to get that tax base anymore. Maybe we'll see even more heirs selling property. And in this case, if the heirs are going to sell the property, well, guess what? The balance is 400. If the house sells for 600, well, that's 200,000 towards the heirs of the estate. So this is much like a regular loan. You, as an heir, can do whatever you want, keep it or sell it. And by the way, you can get up to 12 months. You don't get that automatically. When the people that have a reverse mortgage have passed away, they get a letter. As soon as the government finds out they've passed, they send out a letter. And they want to really hear back in 30 days from the heirs that somebody is there to handle this thing, right? That the house isn't vacant. So when the heirs respond and say, we're here, we're the rightful heirs through the trust, or we were on title, then you can get up to 12 months to get this property situated. And the heirs aren't required to make a payment. So that can be helpful. It gives them time to get the house ready, get the house sold, but they just have to keep in contact with the servicer to get that 12 months, but they can. 12 months, right? They really want the heirs to take control of the house, because FHA and the investors, they do a horrible job if they have to foreclose because nobody shows up. So that's why they're like, hey, we're giving you a year. Let's make this happen. Let's say the house underwater. Let's say the house worth 300 and the balance is 400, right? Obviously, these numbers are scalable to what reality is nowadays. Let's say balance is 800 and the house is worth 700, right? Whatever that may be. If it's a government insured reverse mortgage, the HECM, which is really what we're talking about mostly today, there are non-government reverses. I'll talk about that in a minute. In this case, the house is upside down. And then the heirs might say, I'm not going to give you 400 for a house that's worth 300. And you can't short sell it to an heir, right? You can't do that. So only in the case of a government insured reverse mortgage does this happen. FHA says, look, we have mortgage insurance on this thing. We're going to pay the losses to the investor, to the lender, and you're going to get the house actually at even a little bit below market value. We're going to give it to you at 95% of appraised value. In this case, a house worth 300. The investor, the lender, whoever is going to say, hey, heirs, just give us 285. The house is yours. The government, FHA, will give us 115,000 to the investor to make them whole. There you go. So an heir of a reverse mortgage home should never have to, in the case of a government insured reverse, inherit an upside down property. FHA should be taking care of that deficiency. Maybe the heirs don't want to do anything. They don't call the servicer and say we want to do something. They don't do anything, right? Well, eventually the investor or HUD is going to say, hey, we haven't heard from anybody. We've sent you letters. We have to issue a notice of default. Notice of default comes, you got 90 days to respond. Nobody responds, and it goes what? Notice of sale, NTS. That's another 21 days, I think, 20 days. And it will go to auction for investors. If investors buy it, there you go. If investors don't buy it, it comes back as what? An REO for HUD. But they don't want that. I mean, they're literally giving the heirs a year to show up and get something done. They don't want these homes. What's the third thing that the heir could do? Well, I don't want the house. I don't want to let it go to foreclosure. Okay, hey, realtor, short sell this thing to somebody. Get on the market. You'll make a commission. Hopefully you'll take me out to a very nice dinner and you'll like me because I'm going to give you the short sell. So these are the ways that the heir gets control of the property. Excuse me, that the heir can sell the property. All kinds of stuff. At the end of the day, FHA, the investors are saying, heirs, please show up because we lose our shirts and we have to foreclose. We don't want to do that. And we don't want the house. Now, of course, it makes sense for you as a realtor, if you find out somebody has a reverse, to let them know you know how to help the heirs get control of the property. Also, at that point in time, you're probably going to look and see how they're holding title. Here's your other value added as a realtor. You know what happens if the borrowers die and they're the only ones on title. You got to probate. So here's your opportunity again to exert your knowledge. Let them know, look, you might want to do something about this title. I'm no estate attorney. but a trust or a family member or somebody else, maybe a transaction where if they pass away, it's called a transfer on death deed, something like that. But help them to make sure they don't go to probate. And then that's your first step. And then, of course, letting them know, by the way, I'm going to help your heirs get control of the house. By the way, who are your heirs? I'd like to meet them to let them know I'm going to help you guys out. I'm going to be your resource. There's just not enough resources out there for people to versus, and you can be the one that's the recipient of the listing. Okay. Here are some things. Of course, I've heard about these for years. As a matter of fact, when I first got in the business, I probably believed the myths too, and I was a loan officer, right? So the Governor Bank, of course, they don't own the home. Just like a regular loan, it's a lien on title, and that's it. Bank doesn't want the home, government doesn't want the home. They only want to be paid back the money they have, right, given to the borrower and the interest. Will the heirs lose any future appreciation? Well, whatever appreciation is in the house, it always belongs to the estate minus whatever is owed. So again, after the loan is paid, whatever's left over is for the estate. My heirs can't inherit the home after they pass away. Well, we just went through that whole slide. No, the heirs absolutely can inherit the home, and you can help them do that and be the star of that show. Here's one thing borrowers say. Hey, if the house ends up underwater, what happens? Do I hear from Buddy? Can I still live here? And like we addressed a few slides ago, absolutely not. The way this loan is designed, that if the house ends up underwater, if we're in a bad economy, if the housing market's crashing, you don't have to still make a mortgage payment, and you're not going to hear from anybody saying that there's an issue or you have to do something. The loan is designed for a client's lifetime, the lifetime of the client. How does a client mess that up? Here's how you get foreclosed on if with a reverse mortgage. Number one, remember I said you got to owner occupy? So if a client leaves the house and they bring renters in, you can count on, if the lender finds out, getting foreclosed on. Now, here's more likely the scenario. Maybe you have two borrowers, maybe one's passed, the other one can still stay there. But what if that other one that's there, they're the last one there and they have to go to a nursing home or hospital? Well, you can be gone for 12 months in that case and not have to worry about anything happening. If you're going to be gone longer than 12 months, now basically FHA, the reverse mortgage, is saying, we'd like you to either get a new loan or sell the house if you've been gone for 12 months. So how do you remedy that? Get yourself home. Have your family take care of you at home for a while, and you reset the clock. As soon as the servicer knows that you're back and you have release paperwork, you can start that clock over again. You can be gone for 5 years, but you just can't do it in a row. So you got to manage it a little bit, right? And how do they know you're gone? They send something in the mail once a year, occupancy check, to make sure you're still there. Or maybe something else happens, like you send in something to change your address for the statements. Well, that's probably a clue to them that maybe you're not there anymore. So they don't send anybody out physically like every month to knock on the door. They simply send paper, and when something goes wrong at that point in time, then they'll actually start calling and saying, hey, are you still here? But otherwise, this is a big deal. Just know if you're gone longer than a year, you got to get back. Pay your tax insurance. This is a biggie. We used to have foreclosures, more of them than we do now, because clients would get reverse mortgages and not pay their tax insurance, and then you get foreclosed on because somebody's got to pay them. And if you don't pay them, eventually the house will be foreclosed on. That happens in regular loans too. It just reverses. We have to pay attention more because clients may be tight on cash. We used to not qualify for reverse mortgages. I used to not ask if you had any money coming in. Can you believe that? Well, that was stupid because you have to have some money coming in to pay your taxes. So now we do a little bit of qualifying. We want to know that you have just enough money coming in to at least pay your tax insurance, keep the lights on, right? And have a little discretionary income. So we look for a little bit of income now, still not debt ratios, none of that stuff, just to make sure you're not going to get foreclosed on because you got no money to pay your taxes and insurance, right? So that default rate has come down quite a bit from about 7 or 8 years ago before we didn't care about income. Now we're just trying to root out the individuals who might have an issue even paying those bills and saying, look, even a reverse mortgage isn't going to help you at this point in time. Okay, trying to solve that problem. All right. How else do you get foreclosed on? You let the house get in really bad shape. It's got to be in really bad shape. And somebody probably even has to let the servicer know, because they don't go checking to see if your house is in bad shape. Sometimes maybe some complaints come in, or maybe there's a a bot that has found a violation of the county because your house has been red tagged or something like that. So this, I don't see this happening very often. What are minimum standards? There's a list on FHA's website. I just say whatever condition the house was when you got the loan, keep in that condition, right? Because we signed off on it, that it met the standards at that point in time. All right, but again, this is very low on the poll of anything I ever heard about. Mostly I hear about a default because someone didn't pay their taxes. I hear that all the time. Just pay the tax to get caught up. You get yourself out of default. Sometimes people think we're foreclosing on reverse mortgage borrowers. We're not. We're foreclosing because they've passed away and nobody got a hold of the servicer to say, hey, we're here. And the only thing a reverse mortgage company can do then is foreclose to get the house sold. But the borrowers have passed. So there's a lot of foreclosures and reverse mortgages, and it's not on anybody. It's just to get the house moving along. Okay. So these are the 3 rules. You follow these, which are basically almost what you do anyways, and you stay there entire life. All right. Now, as I'd mentioned before, reverse mortgage loans are determined based on age. So every age is different. People would say, Ryan, can you send me that chart? I'd say, sure. But by the way, the chart changes, so that doesn't do you any good. So we made an app for realtors specifically. You download the app. We update the app with correct loan figures. So that way, you know, you're getting it. And if you just go to your app store and you type in REV, the number 4, PUR, you'll get the app. You can put the client's age in there. You put the purchase price, hit calculate, and it tells you what the down payment needs to be and how much of a loan we're giving them. There you go. If it's a married couple, you don't have to have both over 62, just one. And that changed from years ago. By the way, what happened years ago is that we didn't let you get a reverse unless both spouses were over 62. So what happened is people would say, well, I just won't put my spouse on the loan or on title. The problem with that is when the older one who was on the loan passed away, we send a what? A letter to the one that's left behind saying, hey, we understand the borrower's passed away. You got to refinance or get a new loan or sell the house. So that doesn't work out well, right? For the widower that maybe can't do that. So we changed that rule and said, look, we don't want you guys trying to figure out how to get these loans anymore. We'll just let you know, if one of you is over 62, both of you can be protected and not have to worry about leaving the home. Now, if you're not married, well, we're not going to protect non-married people. So if you want to do a reverse with your friend, I don't know, anybody that you're not married to, or we would say, hey, you guys aren't married. So unless you're both over 62, you both can't be in the loan. That's unmarried borrowers. Okay. Now, FHA does not want to be a jumbo reverse mortgage lender per se. So they say, what's the average price of the house? Okay, average price of a house is $822,375. This is actually a Fannie Mae number, and FHA uses it too. So this isn't the maximum price that you can buy a house at. This is the maximum we will use to determine a loan amount. So let me give you an example. Let's say, Ryan, somebody said, hey, Ryan, I want to refinance my house. It's worth $1 million. How much are you going to give me? And I'm like, well, for starters, I'm going to base your value on 822, not $1 million. Why? Well, because the government doesn't want to give loans based on anything outside of that because they think that's becoming jumbo. And I say, well, that's a bummer. I'd say, yeah, that's just the way it is. So on the purchase side, I tell realtors, if you want to find a home for a client, it'd be nice if you found it under 822,375. That way they're not putting extra down payment down. They're getting the maximum amount of loan they can for a government insured reverse. Well, let's face it, there's lots of homes out there that are more than 822. So the private industry said, hey, we'll do reverse mortgages and we will use whatever value up to $6 million. That way, if a client wants to buy an expensive home or refinance an expensive home with the reverse, they'll get a bigger loan amount than what the government will give. Okay. So we have private reverse mortgages. There's all kinds of names for them. They're big Wall Street firms. They give them names, whatever. We have different ones that we use. But the idea is really that as soon as a house is probably worth more than 900 on a refinance or a purchase, we're going to start looking at those jumbo products. We call it jumbo to get the reverse done. So they can start getting more money than the government loan. Now, the rates are going to be higher, of course, because it's not insured by FHA. So these investors are saying, we don't get insured by FHA. we're going to charge higher rates. So if you want a big reverse, you got it. You're going to pay a little higher rate, but at least it's available. If you have a $6 million home, you might get a $3 million loan. It just depends on if you decide that's worth it or not. We advise a lot of people. Maybe the house that you're in is too expensive. Maybe you should find a realtor and get yourself downsized so you don't have to do such a big reverse mortgage. You can put more money in, you can put money in the bank and not pay so much interest. So the idea here, as far as we're concerned, is not just saying as soon as somebody says, I want a reverse, it's like, well, why do you want the reverse and what other options are available? Have you ever thought about moving? Do you want, there's not be a better solution than getting a $3 million reverse, because that could be expensive over time. And maybe it just makes more sense. So realtors have become more important in our business than ever, not only because of purchase loans, but just because we're running across situations where we feel a client should sell and do a reverse on a different home for efficiency wise, for longevity of cash, for things of this nature. And so we like to mention a reverse purchase loan and the benefits. There we go. All right. So we spent some time learning about how hopefully you see a reverse mortgage has implications when you're a realtor. There are many times when people just say, how does a reverse work? Where what they're really telling you is, I need some help with the house. I need to figure out cash flow situations. And many times a reverse doesn't help. So they need to sell that house. And that's why it's so important that you guys are here today, because I want you all to know we run across it often. Okay. So now that we know why the reverse is helpful to you, let's talk a little bit about who might be around you that might want to list or do something like this, right? Maybe in your book already. Now, I don't want you to try to really memorize all this stuff. I don't really want you to try to think, how am I going to make this work? Like, I just want this to be very easy for you all to hopefully pick up some business because of the information here, right? And so one of the ways that we do that, of course, is we have all kinds of materials available, but not just on reverse mortgages, right? But since we've been working so long with homeowners and realtors, older ones that have sold and rebought, we've come to find the average question, a lot of normal questions that are asked. And so what we've done is we've put some things together for you. For example, maybe a client wants to know about the new Prop 19. They don't really know how that Prop 19 works. Maybe a client needs to know more about, I'm getting cash offers. I'm getting people knocking on my door offering me cash and saying, I don't need a realtor, right? These things we know they're happening. So one of the things we have is a newsletter that we've written that address all of these things. So it's not just about loans, it's about you wanting to help them with questions they come across. So we have newsletters you can download. You can put your name on them. Of course, our name is on there for legality purposes. And they can just hand out. It's already got articles that older homeowners are interested in. Now, if you have a couple of clients you think, man, Ryan, I got somebody who really, I want to stay in contact, you can put them in a website and we can mail them for you. If you go to gocourtdom.com, which is at the top there of your screen, gocourtdom.com, and you put their information in there, we'll mail them the newsletters for you. And we'll send them letters from you in between each newsletter to help try to strike up something for you, right? Now, we can't do your whole database because we'd be out of business. It's too much money. But if you have a few select clients who you're like, Ryan, I think they could really use this information, put them in there. We'll send them out. You get to see what's going out before it goes out. We notify you when something goes out, and we just do a complimentary because we really want to see you try to develop some business without doing much of anything. If I can help you get something with you just putting information in something, I think that's really cool. And hopefully one day I'll get a loan out of it. Hopefully. But if at least I've helped you get that listing on the street, hey, that's still cool. So Go Courtdom is there at your disposal. Crystal also tell you and give you logins for our website where you can download all the stuff that we have in Go Courtdom, all the newsletters, flyers, brochures, all kinds of stuff that you can take advantage of, and videos on how to do all this stuff too, very short videos. She'll talk about in a second. So that's Go Courtdom. Title Pro is a software that we have lots of fun with. This is a data aggregation site. And what we actually do is we show you how to pull information out of there, like right in your own neighborhood, find some real hot people according to the data, and then you can deliver them the newsletter or knock on the door. What we do for fun just because we do everything you guys would do. So we use the Title Pro, watch our video, we get the data out of there. It costs us like 18 cents. And then we took that data according to what we tell you to put in there, and we went and knocked on the doors. And even though we're not listing homes for a living, we got so close with one borrower who needed to list their home, we should have flipped it over to a realtor. Because what we did is we looked for homeowners that had equity, that might be having cash flow issues, and that were older. And we had literature for them. And we just knocked on the door for fun. So you can watch the video on that. We take you for a ride in the car with us, and we do the whole 9 yards. So you can see how fun it could be. But again, you don't have to do that. You can just use the software to see, maybe on your own street, who might be the next person that needs a list, and then print up one of our newsletters off the website and give it to them. Put it in their mailbox. Have some fun with it. It's cheap. I'm cheap. I like to try to get business for cheap. I don't tell you. I want to help you do that too. Remind, I don't know if we have Remind available through the CRMLS anymore. I got to check on that. But we have videos on how to use Remind as well for looking for older homeowners, to give them the literature that we made for you to try to strike up a conversation. Okay. So for us, it's all about taking the information that we have and we've given you, and then giving you the tools to try to easily use it to bring something in the door. And that's what these tools are for you here. Okay. So a lot of the websites and stuff like that, they're all custom built just for you guys, just for realtors. Okay. So take advantage of it. And if we can help you anyway, use the realtor hotline and give us a call. All right, Crystal, do you want to go through them being able to get on the website if they want the materials, and seeing the refresher course and all these things?
Yeah, of course. So let me go ahead. So right now I'm going to go over the complimentary materials that we're going to that you'll have access to at the end of class today. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions, that last minute questions you want us to answer, please go ahead and put it in the chat right now, or put it in Q&A right now, because we're going to get to it in just a few minutes. And then after that, we'll do the drawing for the $20 Amazon gift card giveaway. And then so if you want to last minute enter that $20 Amazon gift card giveaway, please make sure that you drop your email address in the chat so we know how to contact you if you win, and we'll go from there. So what you'll be getting from us in terms of complimentary materials is we're going to get you access to 2 websites. We're going to get you first to access to our realtor resource website, the reverseeducators.com. So what is the reverseeducators.com? Well, when you log in, you're going to be able to access a few different things. First thing you're going to see here is our course refresher. And our course refresher is great because besides the copy of the recording of this webinar, you'll also be able to access this course refresher, which breaks down everything that we talked about today in 6 digestible chunks that are just about 10 to 12 minutes long each. And you'll also be able to learn about stuff that we didn't even get to cover. For example, overfunding reverse mortgage. What does that mean? What is that all about? Well, you're going to learn all about it during, of course, watching our course refresher. So that's one of the access to resources you'll be able to get. The other few things you'll be able to get access to, Ryan, if you want to go to the next slide, is our complimentary downloadable marketing materials. So those newsletters you see there, those are have been recently updated. What's really cool about this, by the way, is there's a Prop 19 article in that blue one right there, and these are ready to download. Just go ahead and download and then print. What you'll do is on the back of each newsletter, you'll be able to put in your own contact information. So your name, of course, your email, phone number, licensing, anything of that sort, you'll be able to put on the back. And that goes true for all of our marketing materials. We've got different flyers, postcards, and door hangers that you can put your name and contact information on the back. And some of them you'll be able to even put a picture of your headshot or your business card. What you'll also be able to get access to is our library of videos that we've made over the years. So we've got a Title Pro 24/7 tutorial and a Remind tutorial, as well as other videos that you'll be able to take advantage of, and you'll be able to access GoCordum on our website. Speaking of Title Pro 24/7, that's going to be the second website you'll receive logins for. So you'll be able to fully access Title Pro 24/7 to build that list of homeowners with those criteria in your neighborhood. Now, how you're going to get these logins? Well, they're going to come to you in an email either later today or tomorrow. And the emails are going to be very simple. It's going to say, hey, Thanks for taking your class. Click here to activate your account. You click on the links and then you set up a password and you're all good to go. So all the instructions will be sent to you over email. You'll be taken care of in that way. And if you do not receive any email from us about your logins, please contact us within 5 business days and we'll make sure we get that over to you. How do you get to contact us? Well, here is 888-242-5959. That's our realtor hotline that you'll be able to reach us, and we do pick up that phone call very punctually because we know that sometimes you may have a really quick question and you're with a client, so we want to make sure we're able to help you answer those questions. You can email Ryan directly. There's his email address. Robert is Ryan's partner, and if you guys like to email Robert, then that's his email address there as well. And the reverseeducators.com, that's our realtor resource website, which you will be receiving logins for. So yeah, and of course, anyone who sends us their email, will definitely make sure that we follow up with you as well to make sure that you get those logins. So all right, Ryan, we got 5 minutes left, so let's go ahead and knock some questions out and let's get to that drawing. What do you say?
Yeah, so just real quick, if you email me and I don't get back to you right away, believe me, it's not because I'm ignoring you. Sometimes in a day, I'll get like 30 emails with questions and they're like in-depth questions. So if I don't get back to you, by the way, don't afraid to send me another email and go, hey, Ryan, did you forget about me? I really need this question answered. Please be the squeaky wheel so that I make sure I get to the email and I will get back to you. And I try to get back to you same day usually, but every once in a while I slip and I miss. So just stay in contact or call the 888 line and somebody will get to me. Okay, questions? We got any questions?
Yeah, we do. So first question from Mike Kai is, if you choose not to pay down your mortgage, your reverse mortgage, do you get a ding or a penalty in a higher interest rate or anything of the sort because you didn't pay your mortgage on time, Ryan?
Yeah, okay, great question. So remember, the number one rule on the reverse is always you never are required to send in a monthly mortgage payment. So if you never do, you'll never hear from anybody. The rate doesn't change, nothing happens. What I want to let everybody know, it's at your discretion, because some people will say, look, I don't want as much interest added on every month. Or maybe my kids are hoping you inherit the house with a little more equity. Cool, send some money in. You can send it in whatever you want. You can send in whatever you want. It's at your discretion.
Okay, awesome. And then another question we had from Florina was, is the purchase price limited to the FHA loan limit area, correct, except for private reverses?
Okay, so no. So you can use a government insured reverse to buy a $2 million home, but your loan amount starts getting small compared to what you're buying. And so that's why we would go over to the non-government, the private reverse. But see, since the rates are lower on the FHA reverse, we try to max out that FHA reverse first, because over the long haul, you would save money with the government insured reverse. But sometimes if we can't get that loan big enough, we go over to the private mortgage. So that's why we do it. But you could buy any price house you want with the FHA reverse. It's just, can you get enough money from it?
Perfect. Thank you, Ryan. And then another question we had from Sherry was, do homes have to be FHA qualified to be eligible for this loan?
Good question. So they do, if you're talking about like a condo situation, like regular single family residence or PUDs, that's fine. But like when you get into a condo scenario, if it's a detached condo, by the way, no problems there either. It's just attached condos to each other. We have to go through the approval process. Now, remember, we have a new approval process. It's a single unit approval. We don't have to get the entire HOA approved anymore. So the board doesn't even, they can't say no or anything. We just request the financials, we get it approved. It is a little tedious, but we can do it. And that is how you can get a non-FHA approved home to be able to have a reverse mortgage on it. And even like the non-government reverses do require some approval process, but their approval process can actually be easier for a non-approved condo. So you can use those private loans.
Great, perfect. And then last question we have from Ruben is, what is the normal escrow period on a reverse mortgage for purchase?
There is no normal. It depends on who's doing the loan, right? That's why we take a lot of time before you even would list a client's home to get a client prepared. If you prepare properly for, usually a week to 2 weeks to the client before you write offers, then we can have a 30-day escrow, okay? If you don't prepare and you don't catch hiccups, man, you could be in a 90-day escrow. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. That's why we have to see those clients before you're going to write offers, so we can figure out whatever the issues are, get them worked out, and then prepare a nice client for you to write a 30. We always like a 35-day escrow just because, but there you go. And we've got them done in 25 days. That's just not that fun to do. All right, so there you go. If we don't have any other questions, let's
We
see.
have one more question from Sherry is, how about homes that need repairs? Could they qualify for the reverse mortgage?
Well, they can, but that definitely does get us into some special territory. It all depends on the repairs that need to be done, if there are health and safety issues, if they can be done after we fund the loan. Some have to be done before we fund the loan. That's a total case-by-case basis. We've gotten some really, really bad shape homes done with reverse mortgages. It's just we got to fit the puzzle pieces. So if you got one that you're questioning on, send it over. If a client wants to write an offer on a one, give me the MLS number. Let me check that thing out. Let me figure out how I'm going to get it done. If it's a refinance, we usually can get just about any home done because we have time, right? It's not like we're under the gun on a purchase to get it done. A refinance, we have lots of time to figure out the issues of the house and get it resolved if we need to, or get the loan done and fix the issues afterwards.
Perfect. All right. So let me go ahead and draw for the Amazon gift card first, and then Ryan, you can do just a final wrap up with the class. We'll get out of here.
Oh, Crystal, I guess we're doing that. Couple things. I didn't get a chance to cover like costs. Like it's an FHA loan, so your typical FHA costs come with a reverse mortgage, and so it's not like outside of a really normal of an FHA loan per se. The non-government reverses are just a normal like loan cost. Like there isn't any additional reverse fees or anything like that. It's literally title and escrow fees. So very comparable to FHA loans in terms of costs and rates. You're talking 2 to 3% rates on FHA reverses, and on the private ones, you're 4 to 5% type stuff. So you can see how those private ones are higher priced, and we want to use the FHA if we can. So hopefully that answers any lingering questions, but by all means, use our phone numbers, call us with your questions. You know, we're right here in the city of Orange, so we see all of you out there all the time, and we like to have fun, and we like to try stuff. If you guys want to go print out some flyers and give them to your neighbors and you want me to go with you, hey, let's do it. I'm always up for hopping in and trying to figure out how to generate some business and have some fun along the way. So you got my email. You can get my cell phone number if you call in and text me. Why not? Let's go out there and have some fun and try to drum up some businesses. That's what makes our industry cool. So I respect realtors and loan officers a lot, because we're out there trying to figure out how to get the clients and keep ourselves going and have a good business. All right, what do we got, Crystal?
All right, so I got the wheel here. So we're gonna spin for the $20 Amazon gift card giveaway now. All right, Mai Kai, congratulations. You are our $20 Amazon gift card giveaway winner. So we'll reach out to you. Most likely we'll just use whatever email that you gave us. So we'll send your card that way, but we'll definitely reach out. Congratulations again. For everyone that's attended, thank you so much. Please look out for our correspondence later in the emails on how to get logins for our website and for Title Pro 24/7. But other than that, thank you so much, Orange County Realtors, for letting us do this class. It's always such a huge pleasure, and have a great rest of the day, everyone.
Enjoy the beautiful day outside. See you soon.
See you all soon. Thank you so much.
Bye now.